Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk to you guys on a word that the Lord has been giving me for some times now, and he brought it back up to me on last week. So I know he wants me to go ahead and share this. The word is obscene. So obscene means as in pornographic. So first, before I finish reading all of this, I want to break down the word pornographic. So the very first word that you see in pornographic is porn. Porn is something that is dealing with a sexual matter, pretty much. And then you have graphic, which is a picture. It's like a picture in your head, like an image. In your head. So it says depicting or referring to sexual matters in a way that is unacceptable in polite society. So that means like something that is foul, something that is filthy, dirty, gross, nasty, so forth, so on. And then let me see what it says under here, if it says anything else. No, it does not. Oh, yes, it does. It says, as in disgusting, causing intense displeasure or disgust or resentment. Right? So, in the Bible, it tells us that before a person or before a man sleeps with a woman, in his mind, he has slept with her already. So before you get into bed, pretty much, you have already slept with the woman in your mind. How do you do that? You do that by what Satan did to Eve, and I'm gonna break it down to you where the temptation happened in the garden with Eve. It says, Genesis chapter 3. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Ye hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. So basically, now here he goes playing with her head. First, he wanted to know, what did she know? Like, what did God tell you? And now he's about to manipulate the woman. And he says to her, Ye shall not, well, no, not that. The serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. So when she said, the Lord said, Lest ye die, he said, Ye shall not surely die. So, okay, now what? Now you playing with my mind, because the Lord said that we shall die, and here you go saying that we won't die, right? So wait, which one is it? So now he's putting this thought in her head, because Satan knows that if I can just put an image, if I can just get you to think about something, because the mind is powerful. Our mind is powerful. And so because our mind is powerful, because God created us to have creative thoughts and things like that, then Satan knows that the mind is powerful. And if I can just get you to think about it, I can get you to sin. So let's see what he do to her. Then it says, verse 5, For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open. So he's telling her, he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth, but then he's manipulating, he's twisting the truth as well. So he said, For God doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, small g, what he is, as gods, knowing good and evil. This is what Satan himself did, right? In heaven, he wanted to take over. And he wanted to be God. And God said, you will never be me, but you can be the small G God over the airways, right? So Satan, of course, got in his head. He had a thought in his head that, oh, they obeying me, because he was put over the other angels. He was in charge over the other angels. And so, he was feeling himself. He was like, pride set in that, oh, we obeying God and God obeying, they obeying me, like, who can imagine what he was thinking? But Satan himself had a thought. And so because of this thought, pride came in, because the Bible tells us that pride comes before a fall. So pride set in. And of course, like I said, he was feeling himself. So he tried it. And when he tried it, he got kicked out of heaven. So God said to him that you can be the small G God, but you will never be the big God. It's only one true and living God, but any other God is the small God. You are always under God, right? So basically, this is what he was saying to her, that your eyes will be open, because that's what happened to him. He knows the routine, because the same thing happened to him. He knows what happened to him. So the same thing happened to him. He's trying to play on everybody else, which he started with Eve. And ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So that's when sin come in. So I gotta get you to see what I'm talking about. I gotta get you to have an appetite, and the appetite is to see what I'm talking about. I got to get your eyes to open, because right now you don't know sin, because God didn't create us to sin. So we didn't know any sin. They didn't know any sin at all. So, but God knew that if they ate off that tree of good and evil, then their eyes will begin to open. Then you're going to start having an appetite. You're going to start seeing things that I did not want you to see, which is what happened to her. He already knew that. So basically, it puts this image in her mind like, oh, wait, I can be like God? What? Well, lo and behold, you are already like God, because he said, I created you in my image and in my likeness. We are not gods, but we are like him. So Satan was using the word, but he was twisting the word at the same time, just like he did Jesus. He offered him bread. He knew Jesus was hungry. So he said, I'll take this stone and turn it into bread. What he was trying to do, he was trying to get him to see what he was talking about. But Jesus said, get thee behind me, which what we can do also. So it says here in verse 6, the fall of man. And when the woman saw, so it letting you know that she saw, her eyes came open. The tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband. So with her, and he did eat, right? So it says, and appeal to appetite or lust of the flesh. It was pleasant to the eyes. So that's when coveting came in, lust came in, her own desire, because James 1 says that God does not tempt us to sin. So who is tempting you to sin? Somebody is tempting you to sin, but the only way you sin is by your own lustful desires. Even Satan can't cause you to fall. He can tempt you, but he can't cause you to fall. Tempting means he's trying to get you to see what he's saying. There's an image that he's always trying to put in your head. That's why he's constantly showing you people, the people who hurted you. He's constantly showing you them and not who did it. He the one did it, but he's showing you people. So, he's constantly playing mind games all the time. So this is why in 1 Corinthians 10, it tells us to cast down false imaginations. Because what is imagination? What's the first word in imagination as God gave me? The first word in imagination is image. What is an image? An image is a picture. So what Satan does is he got to get you to see. He got to put this picture in your head to make you think that what you see, that's what it is. So he's always playing games because who did it first? He did. And then it says, and the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked. So God said, how do you know you're naked? You don't know no sin. You don't know like what sin is like. The only way you know you're naked is sin. You done did something that I told you not to do. Sin is now, part of you, because you would have never known you was naked unless you sin, because sin opens your eyes, and it also blinds you to the truth. So it says, when the woman saw, this was an evaluation process of the mind, for the tree was good for food, and an appeal to appetite or lust of the flesh. It was pleasant to the eyes. So, the law talks about coveting and as lust of the eyes. And then it said and it was to be desired to make one wise. For desire is used in the law in Deuteronomy 5, coveting, and appeals to pride of life. So there you go. Pride comes before a fall. So that's why God tells us to not covet. That's one of the laws that God tells us to not do, because it caused you to fall. So let's go to Ephesians. So Ephesians 5, and we're going to start here. Let's just start from 1. So it talks about being imitators of God. And I'm going to read you the Amplified version. It says, therefore, become imitators of God. Copy him and follow his example. As well, beloved children, imitate their father and walk continually in love, that is, value one another, practice empathy and compassion, unselfishly seeking the best for others, just as Christ also loved you and gave himself up for us, an offering and sacrifice to God, slain for you so that it became a sweet fragrance. But sexual immorality and all moral impurity, indecent, offensive behavior, or greed, which is the love of money or food, must not even be hinted at among you, as is proper among saints. For as believers, our way of life, whether in public or in private, reflects the validity of our faith. Let there be no filthiness and silly talk, or coarse, obscene, or vulgar joking, because such things are not appropriate for believers, but instead speak of your thankfulness to God. So God is saying, your talk, there is saints who are talking filthy. You are talking about sex. And so when you talk about sex, it puts this picture in your mind. And as I said earlier, Before you fall, you already have fallen in your mind, because you are contemplating in your mind what to do to somebody. You are contemplating the scene in your mind that what you're gonna do to a person or what you can do to a person. And so that's how you fall, just by being around it. This is why you have to make sure that you're not around people who is talking this kind of talk, because a lot of people have fallen, and Satan knows exactly what he is doing, because a lot of people sit around their unsaved friends, and their unsaved friends go to putting all this stuff in your head, and all of a sudden you in the bed with somebody. But you already done slept with them in your mind before you slept with them in the bed. And so we have to be careful for nothing. We have to be careful that because the Bible tells us to come from amongst them and be ye separated, says the Lord. And so this is why God says that even listening to songs with sex in the music, because music also puts an image in your head. And that's why they use music or the TV, because you see more sex stuff on TV now. You can't even look at TV without cussing in the movies, or some sex scene in the movies, when the movie is not about sex, but all of a sudden here go something in a movie. So it puts this picture, whether you think it's doing something to you or not. Your eyes and your ears is your gates, and it's a way to your heart. It's a way to your mind. And so some of you don't understand, how am I falling? How am I falling? You know, I didn't sleep with nobody. You don't have to be in the bed with them in order to cheat, because you've already done it in your mind. Actually, let's go to the verse. I'm going to finish reading verse 5, then we'll go to that. For be sure of this, no immoral, which is sexual matter, fleshly type of stuff, impure or greedy person, for that one is in effect an idolater, has any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and God. For such a person places a higher value on something other than God. So God is saying these people don't worship me. They worship their small g gods. These gods are idols to him. You have made sex an idol to God. You have made your talk an idol to God. And you are considered an idolater. And a greedy person who loves money, loves food, anything that you love is an idol to God. Anything that you love more than God is an idol to God. Anything that you place over God is an idol to God. So he said, you don't have a place with him. So this is why we got to be careful who we are around, who we sitting around, who we allow to speak into our ear gates, what we let in our eye gates, because that's a way to your mind, to your heart. And that's why sometimes you can look at something and then all of a sudden your emotions is all over the place, because you let it in. It's called entertainment for a reason. It entertains you. It enters in you. Let me see, where is this verse? He has already committed. Okay, Matthew 5:28 through 29 says, "But I tell you that if anyone looks at a woman and wants to sin sexually with her in his mind, he has already done that sin with the woman." And that's the NCV version, but I want to go over here. Let's see what it says. Matthew Matthew 5 starting at 28. Matthew 5 starting at 27 says, "You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that everyone who so much as looks at a woman with lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart." So, where's your heart? In your mind. This is the heart that God is talking about. This is where you feel, see, taste, touch, smell, all of that. Your intellect, all of that is here. The seat of your intellect is here. Where you think, where you feel, your emotions, all of that is here. So when he talks about the heart, he's talking about here. This is why what is up here can affect here. And I'm going to preach that one day again, because I've already preached it one time. But that's why everything here affects here. It starts to affect your body. That's why God say a person who would commit sexual sin against their own body do not love themselves. Why? Because how is it that you can sin against your own body? If you can sin against your own body, you don't mind sinning. Then it says, if your right eye makes you stumble and leads you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. Not actually taking out your eye. Nah, don't go cutting your eyes out. God is not talking about you plucking out your eye. That is not what he's talking about. That is remove yourselves from the source of temptation. That's what he's talking about. So he ain't talking about plucking out your eye for real, for real. He just saying remove yourself from the situation. If your eyes cause you to sin, remove yourself from the situation. It's not hard. The problem is when you stay there and you constantly just keep on, allowing somebody to put things in your ears and in your eyes, because now you're about to deal with it mentally, and now you finna fight some demons, because that's what that person is doing. The spirit itself that's working behind the person, Jezebel, can be a man or a woman, don't matter, is working behind the scene. And what they're doing is trying to get you to see. This is why witches do what they do. They are trying to get you to see what they are talking about. This is why soothsayers, necromancers, dealing with familiar spirits and things like that. All the enemy try to do is to get you to see what they are saying. Get you to come in agreement with it. Once you come into agreement with it, oh, I got you now. It's an agreement that has to happen. That's a recipient, and there's a receiver. Like this person receives and you get, a person gives and you receive. And that is how it works. If you take the gift, that's you coming into agreement with it. So this is why you don't, a man don't supposed to take gift from a woman. A woman don't supposed to take gifts from a man. Because once you take the gift, you are now coming in agreement with them. Now they feel like they own you. This is why you see a lot of men's buying women's. Because in the back of their mind, if once you take this gift, I own you. Then it says, for it is better for you to lose one of the parts of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. So it's better for you to remove yourself from the situation. And because your eyes have caused you to sin. That is what God is saying. Your eyes is causing you to sin, which is temptation being thrown your way. But the point is, when you fall into it, when you give into it, that's what he's saying to you right here. When you give into the temptation, now your whole body about to be thrown into hell. Because now your whole body is filthy. You are nasty to God. You are in sexual sin. You have committed sexual sin, not only against yourself, but against God. And so, he said, it is better that in your mind, in your eyes, you have already sinned. So don't go and finish the sin out by getting in the bed with the person. Because then your whole body is going to be dumped into hell, thrown into hell. If your right hand makes you stumble and leads you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. That is, remove yourself from the source of temptation. There you go. Remove yourself. It's easy to remove yourself. Once you get away from it, once you say, don't be putting that in my mind. I don't want to hear that. Remove yourself from it. Get up and go. Because all Jezebel is trying to do is get you to sin. And then, okay, now, temptation happens in the mind. Temptation gonna come. God knows. God said it. Temptation is gonna come. The enemy gonna try to do all he can to get you to fall. The problem is, once you commit the act, that's the problem. Okay. For it is better for you to lose one of the parts of your body than for your whole body to go into hell. So remove yourself from the situation. It's bad enough when you sin in your mind, when you have already committed adultery in your mind, but it's even worse when you fall into the bed with a person. It's even worse. You close that door. James didn't want the door closed, but you can keep closed. But yes, so read everything that I've given you in Matthew 5. Remove yourself from the situation. Do not let anybody talk this double talk to you. Playing jokingly with you, talking about what they can do to you and all of that. That stuff put stuff in your mind. It put thoughts in your mind. Remove yourself from the situation, says the Lord. It is better for you to lose one part than to lose all parts. Lord have mercy. Help us. And like I said, even listening to music with sex in it. It's putting a thought in your mind. It's so easy to go fall in bed with somebody because you feel like you in love. Oh my God, honey. That song turned me on. And I feel like I'm in love. Yeah. And you're going to be in love right in hell with that person too if you fall into the bed with them. Satan don't play fair. He uses your own lust against you. But the only way he can get you to fall is by depicting that thought in your mind, putting that thought in your mind, imputing that thought in your mind. And it's up to you to give into it. So God ain't said temptation ain't gonna come. That ain't what he said. But he did say, if you give into it, that's the problem. And that is it. That is all. I will talk to you guys later. Until next time. Bye.